Folks, I'm going to be doing a range test today of my Fold 1 Plus that I've been enjoying. Been riding this more and more recently. And I have a loop that I like to do here. Some of you may be familiar with it from my other videos. And I wanted to see, can this bike do that loop? So that's what we're going to find out today. Couple updates on the bike if you watched my review. The link's up here if you're interested in that. The tire PSI was at 26 on both the front and the rear, so no issues there, that's about right. I did air them up to 30 for this, just to get as much range as I can. And so I wanted to see if this bike can do that, how it feels on the road. Right now I'm not riding on the road, just because I'm kind of scared to be honest. So we'll see. I also did fix the fender, so that was easy to fix. I got that fixed, so we are rattle free now. I figured I would merge onto the highway here. Because this bike is, I mean, it's fast enough to do it, you know. So here we are. Part of why I'm kind of hesitant is because I did ride it some today on the road. So I'm gonna go to cruise control here. Beautiful, 28, 29. I did ride it on the road a little bit today, and you just don't get the same level of respect that I'm used to with Smurf. So that's a real thing. People don't look at you like they do if you're on an e-motorcycle like Smurf. But we're just cruising at 30. This feels pretty easy. You know, and this is part of the range test, is how does it hold up when you're pushing it pretty good. Right now we're going up a hill and I'm at 23. Smurf would definitely be doing this faster. And that's, of course, that's to be expected. Smurf being my wired freedom. Smurf is his given name. Yeah, 26, 27, that's easy on flat ground for this thing. It feels a lot easier for this than for my Nomad 1 Plus I owned, actually, which had more power. So, a nice Mercedes AMG in front of me. Got some nice, some exhaust fumes hitting me. You can tell they smell like they're from a performance car, you know? They just have a different smell to them. All right. This right here is no problem because I've got a nice big shoulder. I'm not worried about it. If I can make this light. So still having some shifting issues here and there, where it'll just kind of snap into gear, and it's like the whole time I didn't even know I wasn't in gear. I mean, obviously I'm in gear partially, but then it just kind of snaps into a different gear. I had this crazy idea about this bike that, you know, what if I just bought another battery for it? And then I put my bag on the back, because it does come with a rack. And then I double my range, right? Keep them both charged, and then I just swap it halfway through. The batteries are 350, you know? So it's like if I really like this bike and I like the feel of it, and the range is kind of the main thing I don't like about it, I could do something about that. I feel pretty comfortable out here on the road on this thing. More so than I was expecting. It doesn't feel drastically different, it just feels like a smaller Smurf, you know, a smaller fat tire e-bike without fat tires. And I mean, it's still an e-bike though. And I'm still wearing my full face helmet, which probably looks kind of ridiculous with this little bike, but I'm okay with that. All right, we are already down a full battery bar. And we've only gone maybe 3 miles, so that's something. All right, I'm gonna let these good folks pass. There were a lot, there were a lot of folks behind me, as y'all can see. That's kind of funny. Did I do that? I did. I did do that. All right. But I also let them pass, so it's something. But yeah, I'm a little stressed that we're already down a battery bar. That's a little scary. Again, this is not a bike. Based on my review, this is not a bike that you want to have to pedal yourself. Still feels pretty sprightly even on the road here. You know, usually if things are going to feel sprightly, it's on a Greenway. And this one certainly felt sprightly. That's a fun word to say, sprightly. But even on the road, it doesn't feel like a liability as far as power. It's not as reassuring as the Wired Freedom, but yeah, I don't feel unsafe either. I feel faster than most bikes on the road. So this is a hill right here where I am slowing to 20. And that's less than ideal. This is a pretty hilly, demanding part of town, so. Now I can get a little speed going. And yeah, again, I mean, it feels less stable, but not bad. You know? I definitely can't pedal, really. Well, yeah, I can. But it's pretty fast pedaling. All right, I'm alternating in my mind between this is a much more stressful experience than with Smurf, and this is much better exercise than Smurf. It's like, it's kind of both, because I got people much more insistent on passing me at 24 than I do at 34. And then also, to maintain 24, I'm having to pretty much put in constant effort here. You can see that everyone's passing me. It's like, it's what all the cool kids are doing, except not even just the cool kids, all the kids. All the kids are passing me. This is also like just a constant uphill, and I didn't notice that on Smurf. Ooh. All right. One feature of this bike I just realized it's really nice is that, like, let's say you stop pedaling because you're focused on turning cruise control on. It takes a minute to kick in, but once it kicks in, it resumes you back to the speed you were at when you first started hitting the button. So you regain all of that speed you actually lost immediately, which is pretty nice. I do think regardless, man, my next bike needs to be a step through. This is so nice, having the step through. I just find that I'm so much more relaxed at stoplights because I'm able to just kind of get comfortable. I'm not worried about the bike falling on me. All right, so I'm here at the Greenway and I've still got most of my fourth bar, maybe all of my fourth bar left. So that's not too bad. Just hit the 7 mile mark. So we started here with the odometer at 53.4. So 53.4, so we're at 7 miles and yeah, doing pretty well. Still have 4 out of 5 bars. And we're at the Greenway, which is where this thing sings. As you can see, I'm not riding the bike slow to try to get the best range. I'm riding it how anybody would ride it, which is spiritedly, because this thing's very fun. And I'm waiting for this automatic headlight to turn on. It's supposed to turn on, so we'll see. I'm a little surprised because the headlight hasn't turned on yet. It is kind of getting darker, so I would have thought it would have turned on by now, but it's all good. Not a big deal. It's just a fixation of mine. We're coming up on 10 miles. Still got 4 bars. Pretty good. That looked just like Miley Cyrus. Wow. Wonder if that was Miley Cyrus. I mean, it is Nashville. All right, so here we are at the 10 mile mark. 63.4 on the odometer. And I have to say, people are reacting to me very differently on this bike versus on Smurf, and it's very interesting. It's kind of like a social experiment where, I mean, I still get people giving me disapproving looks. I think that's just because it has a motor, you know? But people seem less irritated by my existence, which is kind of nice. Nobody likes to be frowned at, you know? But I also think people need to get their heads out of their ass, frankly. If you're going a safe speed. If you watch my review of this bike, I got passed by 3 dirt bikes, like gasoline powered dirt bikes on the Greenway. And that was hilarious to me, especially in light of all the criticisms that these devices draw from people doing what I'm doing right now. Let's give this little e-bike a challenge. You know, why not? This is a challenge that my Nomad, my other Velotric bike, couldn't do because of the motor that stalls. But yeah, this thing's having no problem. And the traction is good. See, and then I changed gear unexpectedly. I need to get that fixed if I'm gonna keep this bike. But yeah, honestly, these tires instill a lot of confidence for 3-inchers. It's a much smaller contact patch, and it's doing just fine. It really is. No slippage. I did find a motor temp and controller temp metric on this bike. So after we get through this kind of off-roading section, I'll check the temperatures and we can compare them to Smurf. How fun would that be? All right, it handled that beautifully, and let's see what that motor temp is at. 129, man. 129. That's crazy. 129. After 10 miles of pretty hard riding, Smurf would be at 210, 220. But I've made my case on that. Nobody cares, so that's at least nobody cares that actually can help me. So that's how it goes. I'm finding myself hitting the throttle early because it takes, you know, it's got that second or two where it just like very smoothly kicks in. And I'm finding that I hit it early now. Like my brain has decided, okay, I need power in 2 seconds, therefore I'm gonna start throttling now so that by the time I need the throttle, like I'm coming out of a turn or something, I've got the power I need. So it's just kind of interesting in terms of how we as humans kind of get used to things, and then like our brains develop strategies to work around their quirks. Still don't have a headlight. I'm not sure. I did just check the settings and the auto light is on. I'm not sure if it's maybe not working, but it's definitely what I would call twilight or getting into twilight. Finally turned it on myself, and man, it is not great. It's just such a, I mean, I can try putting it up, but it's just such a small area that's being lit up. Yeah, not a great headlight. I have to be honest about that. That's not great. Luckily I have that 4800 lumen one that I have recorded a review of. I haven't released it yet, but that thing would light up from 190 degrees forward. So that's all this bike needs. He's having a cookout. It smells like barbecue sauce and smoked ribs. Coming up on the halfway point here, we have completed the Greenway section, and we're at the majestic Brentwood Tower here. And I wanted to stop for a second and just take inventory of where we're at, because it's pretty good. It's a pretty good result. So we have gone just over 13 miles, and we are sitting at 3.5 bars. And again, I really will knock it on not having a percentage readout, but if I had to guess, if that's 20, 40, 60, I might be still at 65, 70. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, and I'm not riding it as hard as I did during my review. And I also inflated the tires, so there you go. Two things that dramatically will impact your range. I'm finding myself using the throttle a lot right now because I'm only on pedal assist 3, and I've been on pedal assist 3 for a bit, and I find that I'm using the throttle to keep up with how fast I want to be going. But this thing's so much fun, man. It's just chuckable compared to what I'm used to, which is 120 pounds. This thing just feels so agile. Really dreading this part because These paths are super bumpy, and it's harsh even on Smurf. So on a no suspension on a hardtail, it's gonna be rough. Yeah, this isn't terrible, actually. This part is pretty terrible. They really need to repave this. It's only Brentwood. It's not like the city doesn't have money. We are past the halfway point, but we are not past the halfway point in terms of battery. So that's pretty good. Tell you what, man, cruise control on a bicycle, if you had told me about that 10 years ago, I would have said, like, that's amazing. Like, and it is. It really is. The thought of going for a bike ride and you get tired, and so you can just put it in autopilot mode. It's pretty cool. It's pretty damn cool. This will be a good chance to check how accurate the speedometer is, okay? So right now it looks like it's dead on accurate. Like literally bang on accurate. Yeah, I mean, it was saying 16, but that was saying 16. So good to know, pretty accurate. It's not the case for every bike. I also have to say, I like the way they've done this cruise control so much more than how Wired did it, and even how Apollo did it. How the first e-bike I owned, which was the Nomad 1 Plus, did it. This is so nice how, like, you can pretty much get up to the speed you want, let off, hold the button down. You may drop 3 miles an hour, but then it'll pick it right back up. It honestly functions so nicely, and it's, I was kind of worried about it when I realized it was on the same hand as the throttle, and I was like, how's that gonna work? But it's really meant to be more of a, like, pedal to the speed you want, or throttle to the speed you want, let off, hold throttle down, and then it'll resume you back. That's a dead end. I'm lost, y'all. We got this big hill and I really don't feel like dealing with it, so I'm just gonna throttle my way up. The future is now. And 15 isn't gonna blow anyone away, but I tell you what, it's better than it overheating and cutting out on me. I just wanna point something out. It is immediately after that hill climb and I'm only at 125. Smurf would be at 240. Also, we are at the halfway point on our battery, and I gotta say, I feel really good about that because we've gone 69 minus 53. We've gone 16 miles. I wish I got a bit more speed out of it on a hill. Not from a, it should do that. It definitely shouldn't for its specs. It is like exactly what I'd expect, but I think if I were to think about using this bike for this loop, I think the hill climbing speed is probably a hurdle, just because if I'm in traffic, I can't really slow down to 14 on a 2-lane road. That's kind of an issue at that point, especially with these drivers around here, man. You want to know how crazy I am? Here I am daydreaming about putting a front motor kit on this bike. On a folding e-bike. I don't know. I know, guys. I know this e-bike just isn't really made for my purposes, but again, there's just something about its character and its soul that I've really felt very drawn to. Not to mention, I have so much respect for Velotric. So, yeah. Really like this bike, obviously. I know I said that a lot in my review, and I still do. Here I am able to just stand. You know, I can just kind of stand. I don't have to be sitting on the bike seat, and that's a huge upgrade over Smurf, frankly, as far as comfort at a red light. So if I decide to replace Smurf with another high-powered giant e-bike, it's going to be step through. I'll tell you that right now. But I gotta say, 30 miles an hour on this bike, as long as you're on flat ground, it's fine. It's comfortable. It doesn't feel like it's killing itself to do it. Now, we do have a hill up ahead. Well, I'm curious to see how much it slows down. I would say like low 20s is probably acceptable on a 2-lane or on a 4-lane road, such as this. Yeah, 23, that's better actually than I was expecting. 22, 23, so. Yeah, not bad, man, not bad. And the cruise control is just wonderful. I wouldn't buy a bike without cruise control in 2025. I just wouldn't do it with the way that I like to ride in traffic. As far as the motor sound, you be the judge. Yeah, to me it doesn't sound like a motor that's just really struggling and making an unpleasant noise. It sounds like a well-tuned machine to me. I mean, we've literally been cruising in the upper 20s for like 5 minutes now, and I haven't even seen the battery gauge move. It's still 1.5 bars. That's pretty good, pretty impressive to me. And again, this is maybe like a 5%, but it's just really long. And yeah, we're not slowing down very much. Slowing down a little bit, but not too bad. Now it's finally moved, and I've got 1 bar. But after 20 miles of hard riding, 134 Fahrenheit is the hottest I've seen this bike get. Man. Really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? I'm not bitter. I'm bitter, but I'm not bitter. I'm almost home and I've got a blinking red bar, so this last, stretch in traffic really killed the battery pretty fast, which is not shocking, but it is very, very mildly disappointing just because it seemed like there for a second I was going to make it home easily, with range to spare, but nope. Good thing I didn't take that one detour I was thinking about taking. That was like a mile, because it's literally that close. And I'm curious to see how much I slow down here, because this is a decent hill. 20, yeah, low 20s. Look, it's performing really well for what it is. I'm just asking too much of the little guy, All right, folks, there you have it. We went 22 miles, 21.9, and as you can see, the battery's almost dead. I did ride it pretty hard to the Greenway and back from the Greenway, but on the Greenway it was like pedal assist 3, averaging like 12, 13 miles an hour. So hopefully this gives you an idea if you're someone who, is like a power user and pushes their bikes hard. Hopefully this gives you a good idea and a good sense of what the Fold 1 Plus has in store for you with its stock 624 watt-hour battery. And if you need more, you can always buy another battery and keep it in your back and swap them out. But hopefully this was helpful. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching.